Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Today we are going to discuss a case and an email I received from a government employee. Before we get into it, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe, click the like button, and please leave a comment. It really does help and it does matter. And now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload, shall we? Alright, folks, I had a completely different upload set for today. I was going to do some subscriber submissions, and as I was going through my emails to print their submissions out, because I like to have a hard copy of all subscriber submissions sent to me, and then I put them alphabetically, state by state, I received an email that was very interesting. And it regards a case that has really pushed my, I guess, research or investigative journalism, whatever you want to call it, to high gear. Really looking into these things, calling different departments or agencies. Now, the case that I'm talking about is none other than the Cott County Tony Aarons Amber Miller out of Newport, Tennessee, Jimtown Road. The attacks occurred 2 months apart. Tony Aarons was attacked first. 3 hours prior to his attack, he was communicating with, I believe, a coworker or friend. Then he was found torn apart on Jimtown Road in front of Charles Owensby's mobile home. Then in July, Amber Miller was found alive, torn apart, very close to Charles Owensby's mobile home. Owensby contacted the Newport Police Department when he discovered Tony Aarons. A Good Samaritan discovered Amber Miller leaning against a tree, being licked by 3 dogs, non-aggressive dogs. Then the Sheriff's Department, Cott County Sheriff's Department, decided to, I don't know if it's what it is, but they decided to go into high gear and persecute the one person that called in 911, Charles Owensby. They busted him for a little weed and ransacked his his home, ransacked his ex-wife's home 3 miles down the road in Edwina. Small little community. They had been divorced for a while. I think like 3 years. They dug up a body of a dog that had been dead for a while. The news articles surrounding the case were, lack of a better word, very demeaning to both victims and their families. It was almost like the victims were on trial by the media, which is no one's fault except the sheriff's office and the media for agreeing to write whatever they say. But we all know 80% of media is big bank, big pharma, big oil, in the military-industrial complex. Local, state, and federal law. So, of course, our friend Sheriff Armando Fontes is going to be, another lack of a better word, a little a-hole, and really just drudge up. Hey, actually he made a statement. Tony Aaron's attack, meth was the cause of Tony Aaron's attack. That makes absolutely no sense. And if that is the intelligence of this sheriff and his office, well, that's pretty questionable if you ask me. Also, they really dredged up a lot of really demeaning information on Amber Miller. She's a mom, single mom. Dad was a police officer at one point before he was killed in the line of duty. And they made sure but they didn't do it they did it in a ever so subtle way of really humiliating Amber and her legacy or remembrance of that woman's poor daughter 15 years from now is going to probably read these articles, and these scumbags that are in charge of this county, they don't care. That goes for the mayor, the sheriff, animal control officer. So Crystal Ottinger, Sheriff Armando, and John Smith. Just a real bunch of lowlifes, if you ask me. How do you, poor woman's attacked savagely, man's attacked savagely, and you just humiliate them and cover up the cases, cover up the real. And it's understandable because they got to follow the orders from the bigwigs up above them. But they shouldn't humiliate people. That's just disgusting. And then to, really kind of humiliate and persecute Owensby. Not a great guy, lived a hard life. I'm not saying that he, but he called 911. They really, a bag of weed. I don't smoke weed. I don't see any problems with people who smoke weed. I don't care. It's none of my business. It's illegal. Apparently not in Tennessee, though. I mean, I don't know why. The federal government just is in the process of legalizing it. Tennessee might be the last on the list to legalize it, just so these scumbags can have their power still in this little town or county. Excuse me. A subscriber of mine took a motorcycle trip down that way and spoke to a person that lives in a homeless community at the end of Jimtown Road, Carnation Way. Was told at the end of their visit, be careful on the way out of here. One of those things will come out of the woods and take you off your bike and drag you back into the woods where you will never be found again. One of what things? Well, we know what it is. The media really did a poor job on covering this. Owensby was named number one, just the villain number one, whatever you want to call it. They passed the warrant. They couldn't keep him in jail on the weed charge because he posted bond. It was like $1,000. And I'm not even looking at the paper file that I have on this, and this is huge. I mean, this is all of the information that I've accumulated on this case. Pictures of, it's insane what I've dug up. So they pop him on that, put him away. Then the community, it was town workers that were going by, calling him a murderer and this and that, and with really no evidence, no anything, other than he had dogs at one time. They didn't find these vicious dogs, and the dogs that were licking Amber Miller weren't his. Also, those dogs, if they were the dogs that did the damage, they would have bitten the Good Samaritan. Anyone knows that. It's common sense. And those of you who differ with that is, I don't know where you're from, maybe under a rock. But they then shoot. Someone shoots at the man's mobile home. A lot of weird stuff going on in this case, right? Just because he knows what's going on, because he lives there. Ironically enough, his Facebook page was Charles Dogman, not Dog Man, but Dogman. No space, Owensby. So someone takes a pop shot at the guy's mobile home. He wasn't home. Ironically enough, it was where his bedroom would be. So someone had to know where he slept. I believe the police were at his home only a month prior to serve their warrant. Why do they have a warrant for him anyway? They don't really tell you. But they make sure that he was arrested for pot. If it was a $1,000 bond, it was less than, it was a misdemeanor. Probably a slap on the wrist. In any other state except this backwards county in Tennessee. And anyone that's from there, I'm not offending. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm offending or calling out the local government because it's BS. Newspaper. He calls 911 police officers call him. And the newspaper says, well, he's arrested again. There was no shell casing found. Well, anyone with half a brain can tell you if you're a shooter, You're going to pick up your brass and who's to say it wasn't with a revolver? So he's put back in jail for falsifying a crime or whatever BS they hit him with. And then he misses court. It's almost like they want to keep him from talking, right? Just let's close this case quick. Cases. So as of like September of 2021, last anyone knew, he was in jail for missing court. And I had called about 3 months ago the county of, or Cott County, and asked questions and was told that he was no longer in jail, this and that. So now during all this, the newspaper is, or news media, there was some canine tracks found. That's in the news. I know some other channels talked about, large canine. It's in the news. It's not anything. Almost funny that they repeated everything that I did, the research I did, the multitude of calls that I did and recorded and played for you guys. Didn't hear any calls from them. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So they humiliate both families. They really just drag this Charles Owensby guy through the ringer. And then we're almost a year into the last attack. No one's talking about it. No one even cares. Or so we think that no one cares, because I care. A few other people care. And someone else cares. Now, this area of Tennessee is in the Great Smokies. We've had numerous Bigfoot, Dogman sightings all throughout the area. Dennis Martin got taken out in the Great Smokies by who knows what. So I get an email today. And at the top of the email, it lists the three, I guess, key players in the county seat: mayor, sheriff, animal control. Crystal Ottinger, Sheriff Armando Fontes. By the way, in his Facebook page, he's got an AR-15 and a pink tutu. Real manly man right there. And Josh Smith, Animal Control. Animal Control. It's got to be involved, right? I mean, you'd think if it was dog attacks. So, here's the email. Mr. Jeffrey, I work for Cott County, Tennessee. I'm not going to share with you the department. And this is a burner email, but I will check it. There was a pack of dogmen last year lurking around this county, and 2 deaths. Tony Ernst and Amber Miller were covered up by these 3 for reasons we can only guess, the 3 people I just mentioned. I do suspect they were also trying to set up Charles Owensby. He has been laying low as of recently. I also can only guess why as to that as well. Mr. Jeffrey, there also was a small group of suits but not wearing suits that came in to clean it up. They came in right after Mr. Aarons was identified and stayed just outside of Newport. Also, sir, I overheard Mr. Smith say they believed these things came out from Cherokee National Park. These suits come out every so often and speak to the mayor and the sheriff. My close friend heard you talking about these cases and told me about your podcast, and I felt that the Christian thing to do would be to contact you. Like I said, I will check this email address often, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. God bless you, Mr. Jeffrey. I always think it's interesting, the politeness of Southern people. I have met some of, being from up north, some of the nicest people that I've met are from the South. Just so polite, Mr. Jeffrey. I love that. I am guessing that this is a woman. They didn't leave their name. They used initials, so I'm only guessing. But the suits, who were the suits? Was it Homeland Security? Homeland Security coming in like they did in Knott County for Corey Godsey? Suits, but not wearing suits. And they come in every so often. Probably to keep tabs on the local Dogman population that is lurking around the Cherokee National Park or the Great Smoky. It's a real shame. You know, they could have handled this a completely different way, I do believe. I think people would have picked up on the case, being that it's so strange. You got two attacks happening in the same location. But they could have easily handled it. The media didn't have to be so harsh and disgusting to the family members of the deceased with their just negative, nasty words about the deceased. And maybe not setting up a person who called 911. That's real weird too. So I did email this person back and asked them a couple questions like, when do these people come from out of town? You said they stay outside of Newport. Whereabouts, if they know? And why aren't they posted up on Jimtown Road? Why? That's where, if I were in local federal or local state federal government, I'd post up until I closed the case, which means putting them down, these dogmen, or figuring out a way of things just quietly resolving itself. I'm not sure how to word that. But these things are very intelligent. I really think they pick and choose locations just out of time being spent in the past, figuring out things. I think they watch communities. I believe they really do. Like Tazewell, Buchanan, Mercer, Knott County. You know, I really truly think, or maybe it's a test run. Maybe the government is dropping these things off somewhere and test running them to see what damage can be done and how the damage control works in case there is just a mass attack someday with these things just running down the streets of America. Can you imagine how scary that would be? Imagine how scary that would be. And it's possible. I mean, anything's possible. Heck, we didn't think the government would ever admit to UFOs and Bigfoot. They did, and they do. This case has driven me insane since April 2nd, 2021. I have been obsessed with this case, the Tom Mezek case, and a couple others. But this email is insane. Insane. Last time, I'm going to read it one more time. You know the case. But this just really tells you that there is something real fishy. And they're trying to cover it up with poo be gone. Mr. Jeffrey, I work for Cott County, Tennessee. I'm not going to share with you the department, and this is a burner email, but I will check it. There was a pack of dogmen last year lurking around this county, and the two deaths, Tony Aarons and Amber Miller, were covered up by these three for reasons we can only guess. Mayor, sheriff, animal control. Tony Aarons and Amber Miller were covered up by these three for reasons we can only guess. I do suspect they were also trying to set up Charles Owensby. He has been laying low as recent. I also can only guess why as to that as well. Mr. Jeffrey, there was a small group of suits, but not wearing suits, that came in to clean it up. They came in right after Mr. Aarons was identified. It stayed just outside of Newport. Also, sir, I overheard Mr. Smith say he believed these things were coming from the Cherokee National Park, up from Cherokee National Park. These suits come out every so often and speak to the mayor and the sheriff. My close friend heard you talking about these cases and told me about your podcast, and I felt that the Christian thing to do would be to contact you. Like I said, I will check this email address often, so if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. God bless you, Mr. Jeffrey. Well, God bless you for putting your ass on the line by emailing me. I will not ever stop talking about a few of these cases, because I've said it many times. They will never close these cases because then they don't have to answer for these cases. It's a proven fact. Tom Mezek is still an open case. These are still open cases. I believe Brenda Hamilton is still an open case. The doctor out of Georgia. I believe the family that went hiking and was found dead of hyperthermia or whatever, where you're dehydrated. I think that's still an open case. Just so they don't have to give us answers. They don't want us to have the answers, guys. Why? Because they feel that they're the only ones that deserve the answers. It's NWO. It's right there in front of us. New World Order. We are the sheep. They are the all-powerful, because they hold some, it goes right down from whoever is above the president, because we all know he's just a puppet. But all the way right down to, the local librarian, whatever. I'm just saying that, but being a jerk on that. But, right to the local mayor who, thinks that they are something with, I'm the mayor. Look at me. Come on. You ain't nobody. You just run a town and lie. That's what they do. They get together and formulate these, when a tragedy occurs, how are we going to keep this? How are we going to keep damage control? To protect ourselves. Screw the public. How are we going to protect ourselves? How am I going to keep my position? Well, if bad things occur under your position, then you are obligated to correct it or at least answer for it. And if you can't, then you should just step down or you should be just fired. And the public should have that right to just, you're gone, we don't want you. You're not looking out for our interest. And this is not looking out for Cott County, Tennessee interest, Newport, Tennessee's interest, the residents on Jimtown Road's interest, the poor, homeless community at the backside of Jimtown Road's interest. They're people still. We don't know what brought them to that. We don't know what impacted their lives to put them down there. It might have been addiction. It might have been whatever. But you know what? Nobody deserves it. Nobody deserves to be unsafe. That's why we hire, and that's why we vote and elect sheriffs. That's why we hire police people, animal control people. We elect mayors for our best interest, not for theirs. For our best interest. Yours, mine, my kids, your kids. Everybody's. Well, hopefully this person answers my questions, and I'll share them with you when I get the answers. Until then, my friends, may the Great Spirit watch over us all. May He guide us down that path that we call life.